Picture this. You're walking through life, minding your own business, trying to do right, and then, bam, you cross paths with someone who just doesn't sit right with your spirit. Their words sound sweet, but their actions, poison. That's the thing about evil. It doesn't always show up wearing a mask. Sometimes it's disguised in charm, in false kindness, in smiles that don't quite reach the eyes. Now listen to me. Not everyone who comes into your life is meant to stay. Some are there to teach you what to avoid, what to protect yourself from. The Bible says, by their fruits you will know them. And let me tell you, the fruit of an evil person will always reveal the rotten tree it came from. So today, we're going to break it down. How to spot an evil person. I'm not talking about suspicion or fear. I'm talking about wisdom and discernment. Because when you see them for who they truly are, you take back your power. Stay with me. This could change the way you see the people around you. Let's get into it. Manipulative behavior is one of the clearest signs of an evil person. These individuals have a remarkable ability to twist situations and conversations to their advantage, often leaving others confused or second-guessing their own instincts. They don't just manipulate for personal gain. They manipulate to control others, to keep them off balance, and to maintain a sense of superiority in every interaction. Their words are carefully chosen, often layered with half-truths, omissions, or outright lies to distort reality. A manipulative person knows how to exploit vulnerabilities. They'll study you, learn your fears, insecurities, and weaknesses, and use them against you when the time is right. They'll play the victim to make you feel guilty, or they'll flatter you excessively to gain your trust. Sometimes, they create a sense of obligation in their targets, making others feel as though they owe them something. In relationships, they may gaslight their partners, making them doubt their perceptions, memories, or even their sanity. These individuals excel at creating confusion. One moment they might act supportive and understanding, only to suddenly shift to criticism or blame. Their tactics are subtle yet deliberate, designed to make others feel unsure of themselves. Manipulative people often hide their true intentions behind a facade of friendliness or charm, making it difficult for others to see their actions for what they truly are. This behavior isn't accidental or incidental. It's calculated, premeditated, and often relentless. In group settings, manipulators create division by spreading gossip, pitting people against each other, or playing sides to maintain control over the dynamic. Their ultimate goal is not just to get what they want, but to ensure that others remain dependent on them, unable to see through the web of deceit they have created. Chronic lying is a hallmark of an evil person and serves as one of their primary tools for deception and control. Unlike someone who occasionally lies to avoid trouble or embarrassment, chronic liars make dishonesty a way of life. They lie with ease, often without hesitation, and in many cases without any apparent reason. This behavior is not about one-off falsehoods, but a consistent pattern that becomes part of their identity. These individuals use lies to manipulate situations, protect themselves from accountability, and paint a false narrative that benefits them. They craft stories to gain sympathy, hide their wrongdoing, or make others question their own version of events. Even when confronted with evidence of their lies, they often double down, spinning even more elaborate falsehoods to maintain their facade. Their ability to lie convincingly can leave others doubting their own perceptions, which is exactly what they aim to achieve. Chronic liars are skilled at adapting their lies to fit their audience. They study people closely, tailoring their deceit to exploit others' emotions, beliefs, or vulnerabilities. They often mix lies with just enough truth to make their stories believable, weaving a web that's difficult to untangle. Over time, this behavior erodes trust, creating an atmosphere of doubt and confusion. What makes this trait particularly dangerous is their lack of remorse. Chronic liars don't feel guilt or shame about their actions, as long as their lies achieve their desired outcome. They often see the truth as irrelevant, something that can be bent or ignored to suit their needs. For them, lying becomes second nature, a tool they use to navigate the world without regard for the harm it causes others. Judgment, the promiscuous replenishment of truth that carries in its expression no such thing. Lack of empathy is a defining characteristic of an evil person. These individuals are unable or unwilling to connect with the emotions or experiences of others. They may appear indifferent to suffering, dismissive of other people's feelings, or even take pleasure in someone else's pain. Their inability to feel compassion or concern allows them to act in ways that harm others without a second thought. They often disregard boundaries, ignoring how their actions affect those around them. Whether it's in personal relationships, at work, or within social circles, they display a cold and calculated detachment. If someone expresses pain or vulnerability, instead of offering support, they may mock, belittle, or manipulate that person further. This behavior goes beyond simple indifference. It reveals a deeper lack of humanity and care. In some cases, they might fake empathy when it benefits them. They can mimic concern or understanding to gain trust or appear more likable. But this facade is often short-lived. As soon as they've achieved their goal, their true nature reemerges. Their actions consistently reveal that their primary focus is on themselves, with no genuine regard for how their choices impact others. This lack of empathy becomes most evident in how they respond during moments of crisis or vulnerability. Instead of offering comfort or assistance, they may exploit the situation to their advantage, seeing someone's pain as an opportunity rather than a call for compassion. Over time, their inability to connect on an emotional level leaves a trail of broken relationships, distrust, and emotional harm in their wake. They use others as tools, caring little about the consequences because they simply do not care to understand or value the feelings of those around them. Toxic charm is one of the most deceptive traits of an evil person. It allows them to mask their true intentions and manipulate others with ease. This charm is not genuine but carefully calculated, designed to draw people in, disarm them, and create a false sense of trust. They know exactly what to say and how to act to make others feel special, appreciated, or even admired. But beneath this facade lies a selfish and often harmful agenda. They see it all. They use this charm as a weapon to gain access to people's lives, emotions, and vulnerabilities. In social settings, they are often the life of the party, quick with compliments or humor that makes them seem approachable and likable. However, this charm rarely stems from a place of authenticity. It is a tool to manipulate situations and people to their advantage. When someone begins to see through their facade, they often double down on their charm to regain control. They may shower the person with praise, offer grand gestures, or pretend to care deeply about their well-being. This tactic can be highly effective, especially for those who are naturally trusting or who desire validation. However, the moment the charm has served its purpose, it vanishes, revealing the manipulative and often cruel nature underneath. If it fails, over time their charm begins to feel hollow. Observant individuals may notice how it's used selectively, applied to those they want something from while being withheld from those they deem no longer useful. This inconsistency is a telltale sign of their toxic intentions. Their charm is never about connection or sincerity. It's about control, deception, and getting what they want at the expense of others. Frequent drama is a hallmark of an evil person, as they thrive on creating chaos and conflict in their environment. Wherever they go, tension seems to follow, and situations that should be peaceful often spiral into unnecessary complications. They have a knack for stirring up issues, whether by spreading gossip, fueling arguments, or pitting people against one another. Their actions disrupt harmony, and the constant turmoil keeps everyone around them on edge. These individuals often instigate drama in subtle ways, planting seeds of doubt or mistrust in others. They may exaggerate problems, misrepresent facts, or share half-truths designed to provoke strong emotional reactions. By doing so, they maintain control over the narrative, positioning themselves as either the victim or the hero in every scenario. Their ability to manipulate emotions allows them to stay at the center of attention, feeding their need for power and significance. One of their key tactics is creating division. They often exploit existing tensions or differences between people, fanning the flames of disagreement to ensure that relationships remain fractured. They enjoy watching others argue or struggle, as it reinforces their sense of control. At the same time, they may pretend to be the peacemaker, offering false solutions that only deepen the conflict. The constant drama they create serves a specific purpose: distraction. While everyone else is focused on the chaos, their true intentions and actions often go unnoticed. This pattern of behavior leaves others emotionally drained, confused, and often too preoccupied to see the bigger picture. Over time, the presence of frequent drama becomes a telltale sign of someone who thrives on negativity and uses it as a tool to manipulate and control the people around them. An envious nature is a defining trait of an evil person, as their jealousy often drives them to act in harmful and destructive ways. Instead of feeling inspired by others' success or happiness, they harbor resentment and bitterness toward anyone who achieves something they desire. Their envy isn't limited to material possessions. It can extend to someone's relationships, talents, or even their sense of peace and confidence. These individuals struggle to celebrate the success of others, often downplaying achievements or making passive-aggressive comments to undermine them. They may subtly or overtly try to sabotage those they envy, spreading rumors, withholding support, or creating obstacles to make it harder for others to succeed. Their jealousy fuels a desire to see others fail, as it temporarily soothes their own feelings of inadequacy. In conversations, they often redirect attention back to themselves, either by dismissing others' accomplishments or by exaggerating their own. They are skilled at masking their envy with fake compliments or forced smiles, but their resentment often reveals itself through backhanded remarks or a noticeable lack of genuine enthusiasm. Over time, their true feelings become evident as their bitterness begins to surface in subtle but damaging ways. This envious nature makes them toxic in relationships. Instead of being supportive, they view others' progress as a threat. They may become overly competitive, constantly comparing themselves and seeking ways to prove they are superior. Their inability to find joy in others' happiness creates an atmosphere of negativity, draining the energy of those around them. Envy consumes them, driving their actions and decisions and leaving a trail of broken trust and resentment in their wake. A refusal to take accountability is a clear sign of an evil person. They will go to great lengths to avoid admitting fault, shifting blame onto others, or making excuses to justify their actions. This lack of responsibility is not just a defense mechanism. It's a deliberate strategy to maintain control and avoid consequences. When confronted, they often deflect the conversation, bringing up unrelated issues or pointing fingers at others to avoid addressing their own behavior. They may even manipulate the situation to make the person confronting them feel guilty or responsible for the problem. By doing so, they not only escape accountability, but also shift the emotional burden onto someone else. Their inability to take responsibility extends to all areas of life. Whether it's personal relationships, work, or social interactions, they consistently refuse to acknowledge their mistakes or shortcomings. This pattern of behavior creates an environment of distrust, as others quickly realize that they cannot rely on this person to own up to their actions or make amends. To further protect themselves, they may distort the truth, rewrite events, or even outright deny things they've said or done. This gaslighting tactic is designed to make others question their own memories and perceptions, allowing the person to escape blame while eroding the confidence of those around them. Over time, their refusal to take accountability becomes exhausting for those in their life. It creates an unhealthy dynamic where others are left to clean up their messes or absorb the blame for things they didn't do. This behavior not only harms relationships but also reinforces their toxic nature, as they continue to avoid growth or self-reflection by never facing the consequences of their actions. These restrictive cycles are the ones that lead to dysfunctional family dynamics. Their presence creates an unhealthy dynamic, but their presence leads to dysfunctional family dynamics. Their presence, exploitive relationships are a defining trait of an evil person, as they view people as tools to be used rather than individuals to be valued. These individuals form connections not out of genuine care or mutual respect, but to extract something they want, whether it's money, power, attention, or emotional support. Their relationships are transactional at best and entirely one-sided at worst. They often target those who are generous, empathetic, or trusting, knowing that these traits make it easier to manipulate and take advantage of others. They create a dynamic where they consistently take without giving, draining the resources, energy, and time of the people around them. In some cases, they might make false promises or create a sense of dependency to keep their victims tied to them. These individuals are skilled at masking their true intentions, often pretending to care deeply about someone until they've gotten what they wanted. Once their needs are met or the other person is no longer useful, they discard them without hesitation, leaving the person feeling confused, hurt, and betrayed. This cycle of using and discarding people is a pattern that repeats throughout their life. In many cases, they also exploit people's emotions to maintain control. They may play the victim to gain sympathy or use guilt to manipulate others into doing their bidding. Their focus is always on what they can gain, with no regard for the well-being or feelings of the people they exploit. This lack of empathy and genuine connection leaves their relationships hollow, toxic, and damaging to those who get too close. Over time, their actions reveal their true nature, exposing the self-serving motives that drive all their interactions. Emotional drainage is a clear indication of an evil person, as they have an uncanny ability to leave those around them feeling drained, anxious, or even mentally exhausted. Being in their presence is not energizing, it's depleting. Whether through constant negativity, manipulation, or emotional volatility, they suck the life out of any environment they enter. These individuals thrive on creating emotional chaos, either by creating unnecessary conflict or by feeding off the emotions of others. They might demand constant attention, validation, or sympathy, leaving others feeling emotionally drained and overwhelmed. They often make everything about them, requiring others to constantly cater to their needs while offering little in return. They may also use guilt as a tool to emotionally drain their victims. By creating situations where others feel responsible for their well-being or emotions, they subtly manipulate people into providing them with constant emotional support, often at the expense of their own mental health. This behavior isolates individuals from their support systems, leaving them vulnerable to further exploitation. In relationships, these individuals may create cycles of emotional highs and lows, offering moments of affection or kindness only to follow them with harsh criticism, neglect, or emotional coldness. This unpredictability keeps others on edge, never quite sure what to expect. Over time, the emotional toll becomes evident as people feel mentally exhausted, anxious, or insecure around them. The emotional impact they leave behind isn't just about temporary discomfort. It's a long-lasting drain that affects a person's sense of peace, confidence, and well-being. Their ability to feed off the emotions of others without ever offering real support or understanding makes them toxic and ultimately harmful to those around them. A hatred for truth is a defining characteristic of an evil person, as they will actively resist or distort reality to fit their own narrative. They despise honesty because it exposes their flaws, their manipulations, and their hidden agendas. Instead of accepting the truth, they reject it, often with hostility, because it threatens the control they've worked so hard to establish. These individuals go to great lengths to avoid facing reality. They may lie, twist facts, or fabricate stories to protect their false image. If confronted with the truth, they'll often react defensively, attacking the person who speaks it rather than acknowledging the validity of what's being said. They see truth as a direct threat to their power and influence, and they will stop at nothing to suppress it. Their hatred for truth manifests in various ways. They may gaslight others, causing them to doubt their perceptions or memories. They manipulate situations to discredit anyone who exposes their lies or holds them accountable. In extreme cases, they may resort to intimidation, threats, or even violence to silence those who speak out against them. This disdain for truth not only harms those around them, but also prevents them from growing or evolving as individuals. They are trapped in a cycle of deception and denial, unable to face their own flaws or learn from their mistakes. The longer they avoid the truth, the more toxic and destructive their behavior becomes, leaving a trail of confusion, betrayal, and emotional harm in their wake. Their commitment to falsifying reality ensures that no one, including themselves, ever experiences true healing or reconciliation. In conclusion, spotting an evil person isn't always easy, especially when they hide behind layers of charm, manipulation, and deceit. But once you learn to recognize the signs, whether it's their manipulative behavior, chronic lying, lack of empathy, toxic charm, constant drama, envy, refusal to take accountability, exploitative relationships, emotional drainage, or hatred for truth, you can protect yourself from their harmful influence. These individuals are skilled at playing the game, at hiding their true nature behind masks of friendliness, kindness, or victimhood. But the more you pay attention to the patterns, the more you'll see through the facade. Trust your instincts. Stay aware of the red flags. And never ignore the warning signs that something just isn't right. Protecting yourself from evil isn't about living in fear or suspicion. It's about setting healthy boundaries, staying true to your values, and having the wisdom to walk away from toxic influences. Your peace, your well-being, and your growth depend on the relationships you choose to nurture. And sometimes that means recognizing when it's time to cut ties with those who only seek to harm. Remember, the power to protect yourself is within you. By recognizing the traits of evil, you reclaim your strength and your peace, ensuring that you surround yourself with people who lift you up, not tear you down.